You tell people about a big goal, and suddenly everything changes. You finally decide to go after a massive life change, a new business, a big promotion. You excitedly share it with those around you, but instead of the celebration you expected, you instantly face unexpected pushback, subtle skepticism, or oddly enough, you just lose your own motivation entirely.
Why does revealing your intentions change how people think, feel, and behave toward you? I mean, we like to believe that transparency builds trust, right? That it garners support. But reality often shows us the exact opposite. To really understand why this happens, we have to turn to one of the most polarizing and deeply researched texts on human dynamics. Robert Greene believed this hidden psychological pattern shaped history. That's why he made it Law 3 of the 48 Laws of Power: Conceal your intentions. But why would one of history's most influential books tell us to hide our intentions? Greene didn't just invent this concept out of thin air. He synthesized 3,000 years of history to uncover the hidden and honestly often uncomfortable psychological patterns that govern human behavior. To understand this law, we need to look at how the human brain actually processes other people. The answer really lies in a neurological mechanism called predictive processing. Human brains are basically prediction machines. We are constantly mapping out the behavior of everyone around us based on known information just to maintain a sense of social safety and stability. We like to know where everyone stands. So, when you suddenly announce a massive new plan or ambition, you completely disrupt that mental map. You blow up the social equilibrium. Subconsciously, those around you view your unexpected shift not as exciting news, but as a direct status threat. And that disruption often breeds a very specific, quiet emotion. See, there's a massive difference between benign envy, which actually inspires others to match your ambition, and malicious envy. The harsh truth of human nature is that your loudly announced ambition frequently activates malicious envy. Instead of support, you trigger an automatic, often deeply subconscious desire in others to sabotage, scrutinize, or tear you down simply to restore the old social order that they were comfortable with. When confronted with this shift, the brain triggers what is known as psychological reactance. It's essentially an automatic threat response to a perceived loss of freedom, a perceived loss of status, or a rapidly shifting social dynamic. By laying all your cards on the table and announcing exactly what you plan to do, you force a sudden change in their reality. You inadvertently turn your honesty and transparency into a strategic disadvantage, essentially daring people to subconsciously push back against your new trajectory. But here's the thing, the danger isn't just outward, it's inward too. When you publicly announce a goal, you fall right into what psychologists call the intention-behavior gap. By telling people your plans, your brain gets a premature spike of satisfaction. You get the immediate reward of social validation without actually doing any of the hard work. This premature validation creates a devastating trap. The data reveals a stark reality. Publicizing a goal can lead to a 70% drop in your likelihood of executing the plan. By announcing your intentions, you are effectively killing the internal drive you need to actually achieve them. History's greatest masters of power understood this psychological trap perfectly. Just look at the strategic playbook of titans like Otto von Bismarck. On day one of a campaign, he would mask his true motives behind a total facade of normalcy. Over the next 6 months, he actively encouraged opponents and allies alike to form false assumptions about his goals. By the time a year had passed, he could strike with complete, unbridled unpredictability. Figures like Bismarck and Queen Elizabeth I used uncertainty and surprise not just to win individual battles, but to literally change the outcomes of entire nations. Which brings us to Robert Greene's heavily misunderstood true meaning behind Law 3. Look, he is not promoting deception for the sake of being a villain. It is about protection. Concealing your intentions protects your opportunity from outside sabotage. It neutralizes malicious envy before it can even start. It prevents your own premature satisfaction from ruining your work ethic, and it keeps competitors completely guessing. Greene is really teaching you how to protect your potential from the automatic defensive biases of human nature. Once people know your intentions, they begin changing their behavior toward you, and rarely for the better. So the next time you feel that overwhelming urge to announce a brilliant new plan to the world, stop and remember this. The greatest advantage isn't that people don't know your next move. It's that human nature changes the moment they think they do. Keep your plans in the dark and let your results speak in the light.